Carl Bates.
Sorry, Mr. Chair, I got confused by my diligent colleague from Takanini. I thought was going to ask the first question. First of all, can I just take the opportunity to congratulate the member, Camilla Belich, for taking this diligently through the hard-working Education and Workforce Select Committee, and for the various oral hearings or oral submissions and written submissions that we had the opportunity to engage in, and for the thoughtful debate we had through the committee stage. Mr. Chair, my first question just relates to why the member felt it appropriate for a bill of this nature that's relating to theft to be dealt with by or through employment law components. I suppose rather than it, for example, being a personal grievance and being dealt purely in the realm of employment law, this particular amendment will amend the Crimes Act and therefore becomes a piece of criminal legislation, I suppose, and sit within that realm. It was dealt with by the Education and Workforce Select Committee, and so I feel that it would more naturally sit as, or should have sat as, an employment law issue, something in the realm of personal grievance, something that could be dealt with by the likes of more traditional personal grievance type processes. But rather than that, we've got a piece of legislation that is going to involve other agencies, such as police, is potentially going to, or could involve the courts, because it is a crimes piece of legislation. Now, ultimately, for how often the opposition talk about their concern around us filling up our prisons with too many prisoners, could ultimately result potentially in people filling up or clogging up our justice system. And so, Mr. Chair, my first question, I have a number of questions as we go through the different parts of this amendment this evening. My first question is in relation, as I say, to why we are dealing with this under criminal legislation as opposed to employment law purely. I'll leave it at that point, Mr. Chair, and ask my next question in hopefully a few minutes' time. Thank you.
Camilla Belich.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you to the member for that question. The first part of his question on why it's in the Crimes Act as opposed to a personal grievance is really the entire purpose of this Act. It's to recognise the fact that there isn't a criminal sanction available for employees who suffer theft as a result of the actions of their employer. So that's why it's in the Crimes Act. In terms of the Education and Workforce Select Committee, that was referred to the Education and Workforce Select Committee by the 53rd Parliament, but as the member is aware, the Ministry of Justice did provide advice to the committee, and so was well served from that purpose. In terms of the wider issues around theft by an employer being a crime, this is not new in New Zealand law. There are existing provisions in the Immigration Act which criminalise theft by an employer for recent migrants, and often, and inequitably in my view, employees who do steal from their employers are referred to police and treated in the criminal law. This bill is merely about addressing that imbalance.
I just will remind the member that to be aware that this is about the type.
Okay, so let's kick off with the first round of commentary. There's a reason why it's criminal, is because it is not a criminal offence for an employer to go through into an employee's wallet, yank the money out, keep it for themselves illegally, and not face the same consequences as a staff member who goes to the till, takes out a wad of cash, puts it in their own pocket, and goes away with it. And it's about making those two exactly the same offence.
But we're talking about workers here that are often not paid a very good wage, or they're often pressured to work overtime and not be compensated for it. And a lot of this involves immigrant workers in particular, where they are vulnerable. And they may not have the knowledge to go through the complicated procedures that are currently in place. We should be treating white collar crime as a criminal offence. Yes, don't steal from workers.
I mean, put it this way. Benefit fraud's treated as a criminal offence. I mean, put it this way. It's not only just treated as that, it's a preferred option to send a message. And the worst part I hate about when it comes to benefit fraud is, Your Honour, we've got no intention of recollecting a single cent from the beneficiary. Can you please send them the harshest that can possibly be? And then when you get out of prison for your crime, based on not having the means to pay it back, they take the whole money and sit there and pay it back off the rest of your life. And if you drop dead, they go after your estate. If you have a house in it, they'll sit down there and take a chunk of it from the proceeds of the estate. Why can't they be done with an employer who steals wages?
Yeah, why not?
Thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed to our Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok. Twitch, Instagram, TikTok.